Hey leaders, welcome back to the Build Your Culture Brand podcast. This is a bonus episode of a conversation that I had with Israel Allmand in the last episode. I wanted to share this extended conversation with you in a special place because he takes some time to describe the benefits of using a culture brand. And culture brand is one of the tools that we've developed to help teams make culture measurable and clear for everyone on the team. The idea is that there are three main buckets or three main concepts that fit into your culture. One related to how you get results, another related to how you do teaming, how you work together, and the third related to the character that everybody brings to the team. And so this makes it a way to be very clear about the culture that you're after, but also to make it measurable so that out of this can come coaching conversations for everyone to be called up to the culture rather than being called out for bad behavior. So as Israel describes their particular culture brand, you'll hear him share three words that they use to describe these ideas. And this is one of the things that we do with the teams that we work with is in a workshop setting, work with them to help them develop their own way to say these three things. And so to say results, to say team, to say character, and that becomes their culture brand. And it's unique to every organization. With the dozens of organizations we worked with, everyone has their own unique way to say this. So as Israel begins to describe this for you, I think you'll find it helpful to see the practical ways that culture brand can be used to impact an organization. So thanks for joining us. Let's jump right on in.
Strong leaders are culture creators. Jay and his coaching team at Leaders Q Consulting have encountered incredible teams and leaders who desire to build inspiring and transforming organizations. Join Dr. Jay Raines as he explores the lives of leaders who are intentionally building healthy team cultures.
So right now you're at Chick-fil-A Ramsey, getting ready to launch forward, you and your family to a new location when that's prepared. But some of the things our team has been working on with y'all are around this idea of culture brand, and it's the name of the show. It's what we're talking about. Ray's episode just came out, episode 13, if you want to check that out. And he talks about culture brand, but I want to hear from your perspective, like what are the advantages? What's some advantages of having a culture brand? Maybe I should ask first, how would you define having a culture brand? What does that even mean?
I guess I'd start off by saying the way that I think of and utilize the culture brand really does come to, I would define it as more of like a checks and balances for the way you make decisions in the business. And those things can go from your top level leader all the way down to your team member as far as being able to translate these principles or valued words from, hey, you're the GM or you're the operator, and then all the way down to you're brand new, you're Jimmy, you just got there, and I'm going to tell you three things that'll help you understand and make decisions about this business and just who we are. And it can get applied to all levels. That's how I think of and try to utilize the culture brand as most. I love Leaders Q's culture brand setup, and it's something I'll be doing within my own restaurant to one degree or another. And so I love it personally.
What are some things you love about it?
Something I love about it is the definition and clarity it can just kind of give you for talking to a team member, or like how you want to filter more than anything, like a decision matrix of like, okay, Ray's culture brand is partner, inspire, and win. And it's like a testament to how we work with our team. It's a testament to how we think of or act as individuals, to have that partnership mentality as a team, inspiring character. And then he has this idea of winning and being a winning organization, which is much more leaning into like a core piece of our identity is being winners. And Ray loves that. And like, I love that too. And so we can kind of look at how we want to build out our leadership org structure and say, okay, like does this role have criteria that's indicative of partnership, inspiration, and a winning element or attitude or numbers associated with like how they do their job?
Well, thanks, Israel. I appreciate the way you described that. And you and I and Ray have talked about this too. the culture brand idea is to give you a framework for helping measure behavior. When we show up, what are we aiming for? And so this whole idea of partner, inspire, win, is a way to make sure everybody's like mission, right? And they're doing the mission. And you probably, in fact, you and Ray may be different at this. Like, do you feel like you're more team oriented or results oriented? And then as you look at people on your team, they might be more of the opposite. And so this is a way to kind of bring everybody together. Which way do you lean? More relational or results?
What's interesting is that like younger Israel would have definitely leaned relational. And that probably for about the past 4 years or so, I've definitely leaned heavier onto the results side. Um, I enjoy it more. I feel like there's more clarity in it. And obviously, Chick-fil-A is very good about having this understanding that you don't have results without great relationships. But I do lean on the more results oriented side.
So probably as you use the culture brand on yourself, you might be a little heavier and more successful on the win part of that, right? That's easier for you. And now you have a way to measure, okay, how can I grow and develop some skills on the partner side so that I'm collaborating, I'm developing other people. And so that's just a fun way of how the culture brand kind of helps us do a self-evaluation, but also kind of a team evaluation of what's missing here. If we're going to get a win, we might be missing something in these other categories. So I love how y'all have used it. And what I've noticed is, and I'd love for you to reflect on this, how, okay, Ray's at the top, you're next down, right? As we look at a hierarchy, and then you have these leaders around you. How far down in the organization is this currently having an impact on the team that you're on right now?
That's a great question. And that's because that's actually something we've been working a lot on probably over the past 2 to 3 months is trying to push it down farther and farther and farther. At this point, I think we've gotten it down to about our team leader level, which is like one step above our team members. And right now is what we're currently working on is getting it down to the team member level. And really the way we look at doing that is like, you talk about Ray's culture brand, partner, inspire, win. It's like, okay, well, what does it look like to win on register? What does it look like to win on bagging? What does it look like to win on expo or serving or order taking? And trying to really clearly define for the people in those positions and the leaders who are in charge of leading those positions, hey, this is when this position is winning, and this is what it looks like. And so trying to push it down there, I think where we've been really successful recently has been on our shift leading level, where we've created some Google Forms that shift leaders fill out at the end of the day with some projected metric ranges of saying, hey, go ahead and put in your numbers. And on here is ranges of how successful you were. And we have just kind of like this like 5 separate like ranges for like card counts or speed of service times, and different strategies they use. So it's like, hey, you can walk away from your shift and you can know, hey, I crushed it today. It was a tough day, but we really won today as a team. And you can also walk away and know, hey, maybe we should have pushed a little harder. Maybe we should have done a little more. And which is why we also leave like a special notes section in there for them to be able to just kind of make some notes of like, we don't know what happened that day. Maybe the highway in front of our restaurant got shut down and no one came to the restaurant. You can't control that. That's tough, but just control what you can and try to win the best you can. So that's something that's been really fun to watch and see so far.
That's really good. Thanks for that example. And it reminds me that some of the stuff we're talking about is a bit subjective, right? There's a sense of a feel to it, but then yet you're able to put it in a way that they can make it a bit more objective, and they can break it down and say, okay, this was a win because, or this was not a win, and here are some factors that we think contributed. And I love that. I love that because you're actually lifting the eyes of your shift leaders in that case. In that case, you're lifting the eyes of your shift leaders as part owners of the business. They're looking at their business area. They're seeing how their impact and their influence and their decisions impact that shift, and they have to report on it. So good job for pushing culture brand deeper in the organization. Well, Israel, I love how you're using Culture Brand through the organization. You're using it to develop leaders. What's an example of a way this has helped you develop? Is there a story about a person that maybe has grown as a leader as you've been able to implement Culture Brand in the organization?
So there's one leader that I've worked with for actually a very long time. I worked with him before him and I both came to work at Ramsey. I brought him on to work with Ray. He followed me out to North Jersey, and his name's Devin. So Devin followed me out to North Jersey, and he's an incredible leader in and of his own right, and is someone that he's a younger leader than I am, and still has growing to do. But at the same time, just when it comes to character, just sets a phenomenal example. But he is someone that can get. He needs a lot of clarity, or like a way of like looking at things or understanding what the operator wants or his leaders want very, very clearly. And when we introduced Culture Brand to him, and we introduced our Culture Brand of partner, inspire, and win, and then the words beneath that to help explain and better define what those things meant, he took Culture Brand and ran with it in terms of becoming really, really strong with accountability, which is something that he never wanted to make the wrong decision and be unjust, because it's just within his nature to want to be fair. And Culture Brand gave him some real clarity of saying, hey, I can talk to a team member and have an accountability conversation, and we can look at our inspire part of our Culture Brand and go down to be dependable, and realize that this team member was late, and say that's not a sign of dependability or being dependable. And we can have a conversation about how that impacts our culture and how that impacts you. And why we need to have maybe some coaching or discipline around this. And so that's where it really enabled him to just take something as simple as Culture Brand and impact the restaurant in a huge way over time, because he does way more than that with the Culture Brand, but it just accelerated his growth so much of giving himself that clarity.
That's a great story. I love that, because one of the purposes behind us even creating that a couple of years ago with y'all is so that the people that weren't in the room for our leadership meeting that we did, that you could actually have a way to very quickly and easily share with them the heart of what everybody's trying to do. And so great example of that, because he wasn't in the room. And so now he's able to really represent the heart of the business in the decisions that he's making in these tough conversations. So great story. Hey leaders, thank you for joining us today on this special bonus episode of the Build Your Culture Brand podcast. If you're interested in learning more about a culture brand for your organization, visit us at buildyourculturebrand.com and fill out the contact form for a free download and some other information to learn more about using Culture Brand with your own organization. You can also contact us through that website, and we'd love to get in contact with you and share with you more about how we can work with your team.
Thank you for listening to Build Your Culture Brand with Dr. Jay Raines. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, comment, and share. See you next time. We would like to note that Leaders Q serves individual owner-operators and their teams and is not affiliated, endorsed by, or in any way officially connected with Chick-fil-A Incorporated.